members of the Board of Trustees, esteemed faculty and administration, parents, families and friends, alumni, and of course, the most honorable Eddie the Eagle, who we're excited to have join us tonight. Last year at this time, we gathered together in person on a cold and snowy evening that coincided, more or less, with the one-year anniversary of my official event here at Bernard Zell. At the time, I reflected on how much had occurred in just 1 year. Little did I know what was in store in the year to come, and how tame my first full year would seem in comparison. Tonight, I hope to accomplish three main objectives. First, I'd like to reflect on where we've been together since last year's meeting. Second, I want to share with you what you, our parents community, have told us about how the past 12 months have gone. And finally, I'd like to identify some challenges and opportunities that lie ahead and how we, as a community, will move forward from strength to strength. I've long believed that adversity doesn't build character. Instead, it reveals it. True character is shown in how we respond to pressure. Having spent most of my life in schools, I cannot think of a time when institutions such as ours were under greater pressure than during this pandemic. And I cannot think of an instance when an institution responded better or more completely to a difficult situation. We were one of the first schools directly impacted by COVID-19 way back in March, and we were able to quickly make the transition to online learning, effectively reinventing our educational model overnight. The outpouring of support, cooperation, and flexibility from our faculty was truly spectacular. And while there were a few minor bumps on the road, we managed to provide an excellent educational experience while keeping everyone safe, united, and above all, part of a united community. The work before us wasn't just about providing academics. It was also about maintaining the ties that bind and the traditions that define who we are. Programs like our weekly Friday evening Shabbat gatherings sometimes drew crowds of 200 or more families, and we were able to offer many of our capstone end-of-year activities such as graduation, even as we began planning for the fall term. Following a summer of intensive planning, training, and investment in the necessary resources and infrastructure, we were able to open in person and stay that way through the present day. Thanks to the heroic work of our teachers, lay leaders, and administrative staff, we've been able to provide as close to the traditional BZ experience as we could have possibly imagined. If this past year was a crossroads, I'm proud to say we haven't just muddled through. Our school has thrived, and now the state of our school is stronger than it has ever been. It's apparent that our families agree with this assessment. Just a couple of months ago, we conducted a parent survey that revealed strong growth in nearly all of our key performance indicators. Indeed, despite the situation, or perhaps because of it, a remarkable 90% of our families gave the school top marks for the overall quality of the Bernard Zell experience. Just as impressively, 89% gave the school top marks in quality of education. Again, the highest we've ever scored. Other key findings showed that 87% of families believe their children are as safe as they possibly can be, with 76% believing that the social and emotional health has been well supported during the crisis. Nearly 93% are satisfied with the school's communications with families, and 78% are satisfied with communications from teachers. Again, both all-time highs. 63% of parents believe Bernard Zell delivers the perfect amount of Jewish engagement, up 17% from last year. Parents are very satisfied with our Jewish studies program at a cultural level, albeit with lower levels of satisfaction regarding Hebrew, use of Jewish texts, and developing a relationship with Israel. More on that in just a moment. I'm also proud to report that this past year, an astonishing 93% of our students were accepted at their first choice of high school, with 100% accepted at one of their top 3 choices. This year, in advance of their applications, our students' mean scores in math and reading were at or above the 95th percentile. We pride ourselves not only on these results, but on providing an outstanding holistic educational experience, combining a top academic program with Menschlichkeit and Yiddishkeit. Still, my pride in the efforts of this faculty and staff and the resiliency and commitment of our students and families goes way beyond numbers. If the state of our school is strong, it's because of the people inside of that school and how they treat each child as a unique individual, B'Tselem Elohim. This is a school that puts relationships at the forefront of everything we do. It is a deeply human and profoundly humane place, one that believes in the inherent value of helping each child become the best version of themselves and in the incredible power of exploring the modern world through a Jewish lens. In our best moments, This school serves as a sanctuary for learning, as the moral center of our community, and as a model for the way progressive Jewish education can and should work in the United States. And it's successful almost entirely due to the work that's done here each day by the finest teachers I've come across in nearly 3 decades of education. I hope you'll join me now in thanking them and in applauding their efforts, commitment, and energy. Our vision has always been to teach them diligently. And so, in spite of the tremendous obstacles involved in simply maintaining instructional excellence and a sense of normalcy for our kids, this year has, so far, seen incredible innovation, as well as a dedication to refinement and professional development. All of this is bracketed by a tremendous ongoing investment in the health, safety, and well being of our teachers, and a renewed commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion as an area of focus for learning and community engagement. Refinement and innovation means maximizing our single greatest advantage over most of the other schools in our area, our Jewish lens. Indeed, we believe one of the reasons our academic program is so good is precisely because we are a Jewish day school. It's our greatest tool, the way we develop children into A plus people and A plus students. Our Jewish studies teachers have, led by our new director of Jewish studies, Rachel Jury, have recently begun a deep dive into the curriculum with the goal of structuring K-8 learning around 5 domains: what students should know, do, believe, think, and be, all while providing the incredibly warm, Hamish Jewish holiday and cultural programs we're known for, under the creative eyes of Director of Jewish Life and Learning, Chagit Lewis. In middle school, we've seen an incredible push towards innovation at each grade level, as teaching teams developed exciting new learning opportunities to meet their students' specific developmental needs and interests. Our fifth graders recently wrapped up their Life Over Time unit, in which they created and programmed robotic Paleozoic ocean animals that made up an entire virtual food web. Our sixth graders looked at Jewish identity and anti Semitism through a range of historical and literary sources. Our seventh graders created their first ever original feature film. And our eighth graders continue to investigate the overarching theme of power in a just society, how it can be used and abused, all while working with our artists in residence to learn and tell the story of survivors of the Shoah, with interviews that will be displayed via QR code alongside original student photographs in an outward facing museum for the general community later this spring. In lower school social studies, we've put special focus on learning about community and about people who are different than ourselves. Grades 1 and 2 are piloting the AmazeWorks programs, which focuses on anti-bias education, including empathy, belonging, and resiliency. In grades 3 and 4, a few classes are piloting the Nora Project and Poetry Pals. In math, a great deal of attention is being given to professional development, specifically on incorporating supplements to our existing investigations curriculum, which challenges students to think more deeply about content. Heavy focus has been given to developing accessible, low floor and high ceiling mathematical tasks, mathematical conversation, flexible thinking and numeracy, and pushing kids to use what they do know in order to solve what they don't yet understand. In literacy, students continue to focus on persuasive writing and on building their fiction and nonfiction toolboxes to grow into competent, confident readers using the Loosely Calkins and Wilson programs as the foundation for their work. In early childhood, one area of focus has been on mindfulness, continuing last year's rollout of the Calm Classroom program. Research shows that the more we practice wellness techniques in a safe and structured environment, the stronger our brain's wiring becomes for caring, composure, and calm. Our EC faculty has witnessed firsthand how much our students have benefited from consistently practicing these techniques and have noted decreased behavioral issues and improved skill acquisition, as our students are better able to use these calming techniques, both with guidance from their teachers and on their own. All of this begs a question: now what? Where do we go from here? What is the work that is to be done next? As proud as we are of what we've accomplished, we do face challenges, ranging from the continuing progression and development of our curriculum and communal programming, to balancing sustainability and affordability, to responding to a rapidly changing independent school marketplace. Because of COVID, it's hard to know the exact pace at which many of our strategic priorities will be enacted. And of course, we're limited by time tonight, but among our areas of focus include developing affinity-based programs at the middle school level, not just to attract new students, but to give existing students the opportunity to explore areas of intense passion. One such pathway we are closely examining is in design, technology, and innovation, which could see students able to spend a portion of their day in our innovation lab, learning by investigating, inventing, and prototyping new solutions to difficult real world problems. Organically integrating Jewish studies in general studies areas. In this approach, Jewish learning isn't relegated to just one or two class periods a day. We imagine and are working towards a structure in which a biology class also studies Jewish biological ethics. A social studies class investigates contemporary issues through Jewish texts, and art classes in which students study the visual richness of our diverse Jewish experience. Even as students work towards fluency, emphasizing conversational Hebrew as a world language. Widening our base of students by offering busing programs to growing areas of Jewish Chicago in order to provide opportunities for a BZ education to a broader, more diverse group of families, including a refined entry point at the beginning of middle school. And providing summer opportunities for students, including sports camps, theater and science camps, and potentially a summer program for EC families looking for year-round programming. The list goes on, but the message is clear. Bernard Zell is fortunate to be in an excellent position, and in ways few Jewish day schools, or independent schools more generally, ever experience. And while there are, as always, challenges, the state of our school is stronger than ever, not just in measurable, quantifiable ways, but in terms of positioning ourselves as the model for the way Jewish education can and should work. I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to thank three other groups of people whose efforts have made it possible for us to be where we are. First, I want to thank our dream team of administrators. There are too many to recognize everyone by name, but I hope you'll indulge me as I call out a few right now, beginning with our division heads, Abby Aloni, Karen Levitt, Stephanie Bloom, and Lauren Almafti, whose stellar leadership and support have allowed our three divisions and our student services program to thrive. Second, I want to thank everyone at Barhouse, specifically our COFO, Audra Wong, and her team, including Director of Operations, Colleen Coyle, whose epic competence, patience, and counsel has kept everyone safe, secure, and confident throughout an incredibly difficult time, while also matter-of-factly handling the finance and operation of the school with incredible grace and efficiency. I hope you and your team feel our ongoing gratitude in everything we do. You really are the best. Finally, I want to thank our Board of Trustees for their ongoing support and leadership. I am proud to work with such a passionate, dedicated, and wise group of lay leaders. In particular, I want to take this moment to publicly thank our Board of Trustees chairperson, Debbie Cooper. Debbie, I'm pretty sure you had no idea that you were signing on for what was essentially a full-time job, but your partnership, leadership, and friendship over these past years have been essential to our success. I count myself so fortunate to work with you, and I know I speak for our entire community in thanking you for everything you've done and continue to do for our children and for the school. And thank you, everyone on this call, for listening. I hope what I've shared tonight has reminded you just how special this school is and how fortunate we are to have our children able to learn and grow here. This last year has presented us with what has, at times, felt to be insurmountable challenges. A global health pandemic, a long due overdue reckoning with racial equality, political turmoil, and extremism. But as Debbie mentioned earlier this evening, the Jewish people are no strangers to adversity and challenge. When confronted with obstacles, we have risen above them, showing creativity and resourcefulness. And our people's broader history is reflected in the history of this institution, a school that has consistently overcome hardships, but with each test, our true character and foundational goals are again and again revealed. At this moment, I think it's important that we not forget our past, especially as we look ahead to next year's landmark 75th anniversary, our diamond anniversary. We are beginning to emerge from a challenging time, and there is a lot of hope and so much to celebrate in the weeks and months ahead. Who we are is forged by those who came before us. And as an institution, it's our responsibility to teach our children about where they've been, what they've learned, and how together we can find solutions to some of our most intractable problems. The state of our school is very strong, but the students it educates will be even stronger, more steadfast, and deeply compassionate because of their experiences here. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and thank you once again for entrusting us with your kids. Go Eagles.